Well, hello. I'm Ed Parcaut, one of the hosts, and I'm with Amy T. Meyer, and we are the hosts of. Great job getting that video done there, Amy. That was an amazing video you had done.
Thank you.
Actually, you yelling at me to get it done helped out a lot. Anyway, it was nice. I'm glad to finally see you again. I was gone for about a week, and you took over the helm, and I appreciate it. And let's get our guest in here because I can talk to you anytime, right?
Absolutely.
This is Leland Holgate Sr. Let's add him in. All right, let's do this. Hey, Leland, how you doing?
Hey, great. How are you guys?
Good. So you're a senior. So how many sons do you have?
Just one son, 3 kids, 2 older daughters, which is where all the gray comes from.
No, I'd have no hair thanks to my daughter.
That's what they did to you, huh?
Yeah. And you haven't hit it yet. No teenage years yet. So.
Oh, right? Yeah. Well, thankfully, all of mine are grown. So.
Oh, are they? Wow.
I'm through it. Yeah, I'm
yeah. So am I. I've got 5 that are gone out of the house. Amy's all out. No, they're not all out of the house. They've come back.
Well, and I have my bonus son has not left, so it's not fair. He's just going to college now.
Well, it's not, Leland, met you at Secret Knock last week. Very interesting guy. I know your story. I'd like you to tell our listeners your story, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Let me tee you up so get you in the right position. There we go.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Tell us your story. So you are Air Force.
I am.
We won't hold that against you. I'm Navy, and Amy is. She still doesn't know what she is. She was Army, and now Navy. Who knows what she is.
Army.
My dad would have said the same thing too. He was an Army Ranger, so he was the same way. He actually told me that he would have kicked my butt if I joined either the Army or the Marines.
Now so you actually were born. So your dad was in the service. Were you? And you were born where?
I was born in Vicenza, Italy. So over Vicenza Air Base, which is where the Airborne Rangers are usually stationed in Europe.
Yeah, my son's actually airborne in Army, and he's up in Alaska.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Anyway, tell us your story. So you picked Air Force, and explain why, and let's move on.
Yeah, so I picked Air Force. I was really set on being a pilot, from a young age. And of course, I wanted to follow in Dad's footsteps. So like I said, he told me that he was not down with either the Army or the Marines. He didn't want me to see any combat like he had. So I was getting good grades, passed my ASVAB with flying colors, and decided that I wanted to join the Air Force and become a flyboy. So I actually made my way onto the flight crew and became a C-130 loadmaster. Got to pick my job right out of the gate, and it was pretty amazing. And of course, there was a point where I met the TAC-P guys and veered in a totally different direction, and got sent to SEER school, search, evasion, resistance, and escape training. And from there, made my jump onto one of the most deployed squadrons in the military. So it was kind of funny. Of course, he didn't want me to join the Army or the Marines to move the combat route. And then when he found out that, he just put his hand on his head and was like, "Dude."
Yeah, but did you enjoy it?
Yeah. Oh my God, I loved it. I mean, you're at anywhere from 1 to 10 to 35,000 feet and throwing things, including yourself, and airdrop loads out of the back of a C-130, or dropping a whole crew of Rangers over somewhere. It's quite an exhilarating job.
Sounds like it. Amy, any questions or anything? You're so quiet today.
I am. I'm sorry. I love the loadmaster position in the Air Force. I think that's great. I know that you veered from there, but I do feel like the Air Force really treats their airmen very well, traditionally speaking. I guess that's a generalization. So I'm excited to hear your story. So continue.
Yeah. It's not a lie. Yeah, definitely. So we had, of course, when we were overseas, the best out of pretty much any of the chow halls. and all of our Marines and Army folks constantly reminded us that, you know, like, wow, you guys have the A+ chow halls when we get MREs and all that good stuff. So, yeah, it's, you know, after SEER training, went to the Middle East, spent time in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Northern Iraq for Operation Northern Watch, you know, pre-invasion. We were also the first squadron in when the Kenya embassy got bombed. And after the desert, we got to see some time in Eastern Europe as well. So we went over for the Kosovo conflict, dealing with, you know, Yugoslavia coming in and imparting their will on the people of Kosovo. So that was my last tour. I planned on, after that one, of finally going through and finishing some of my combat training and actually making the move into TACP. And unfortunately, as we all know, man plans, God laughs. Yeah. Came back for some R&R, and on that R&R, we were out on the lake and doing, you know, stupid adrenaline junkie stuff like we all do. And the boat went one direction, I went the other, and that was it. I suffered a neck injury that left me paralyzed from the neck down. Died on the shore for just about 3 minutes and 48 seconds. Had to be recovered by the state trooper, and woke up in the ambulance to somebody poking me with needles, asking me if I could feel that all over my body. And of course, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I can't feel anything. What are you doing? And he told me what he was doing. And that was when it kind of, the fear set in, like, oh my God, I really can't feel what he's doing. And it went on that way for a few days, MRIs, CAT scans, all of those things in the hospital. And of course, hit that low point. You know what I mean? 20 years old, I'm thinking, wow, my life's over. There's really no point in going on. Like, what do I have left after this? And visited all those suicidal ideations, you know, just not wanting to be anymore, trying to figure out how the hell I was going to do this moving forward without the use of anything from, you know, my Adam's apple down. So it was.
So when I'm sorry, you're in the hospital, right? How long were you in the hospital when before all this came in? And I want to bring in our other host, if you're okay with that, while you're talking.
Yeah.
She's Air Force too. So, you know, they get here whenever they want to get here. You know how that is.
I love it.
Hey, Brandy.
So I was in the hospital.
Brandy.
Hey.
Can you guys hear me?
I was in the
sorry,
hospital for about 2 weeks there. And it was about like 2 to 3 days in when something clicked, and I stopped with the tears. I stopped, you know, shaming myself and guilting myself for my situation and loathing everything that was happening, and just somehow said in my mind, no, this isn't going to be my life. It cannot be like this. Something has to happen. And right about that time, right inside of the brachial plexus, which is these big clusters of nerves on each side, I just started getting tingles that ran down my shoulders and down the back of my neck. And that was all I needed to feel. I knew at that point, like, something was going to switch. There's a way out of this. Somehow I can get back to somewhat of a normal life. And
look at you today.
And here I am.
Wow.
So you were still in at this time, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So where were you? What hospital were you at?
It was at Little Rock Air Force. It was actually downtown Little Rock, because on base they didn't have a big enough hospital to take care of us out of Jacksonville. So yeah, Little Rock Hospital.
Wow. And then, so how long did it take you to progress from there to be able to start moving stuff and all that?
Thankfully, in the first 2 weeks, I got most of my upper body back. I had some issues with some neuropathy and hands and finger movement, being able to grip, but I could at least move my arms. I could move my shoulders and kind of twist as it were. Not everything came back from the waist down until about probably the first month, almost 5 weeks in. And then once I finally got to that point, it went from wheelchair to the walker to the cane, and the cane to an occasional crutch that I had with me just in case that I got a little wobbly. But the total process was about 13 months.
So I have a question. So were you single at this time, or married, or?
Single, yeah.
Oh, interesting. So this was a young man going through this.
Yeah, exactly.
You said 20 years old,
Yeah.
Amy.
Very young.
Sorry,
man.
she acts like she pays attention, but yeah.
Well, at 20, I was married, so that didn't necessarily mean he
I
wasn't
know you're and
married.
10 kids. It's a little
Whatever.
different. Some of us plan better.
That's a lot of kids at 20.
Oh my gosh.
What the heck?
Jesus.
Just kidding. All right, Randy, did you have any questions before I keep going?
Oh, I mean, of course I came in at like 5 minutes, so I probably missed a whole bunch. I just know you were in a wheelchair or some sort, and something wrong with your neck, and tingling happening, and.
All right, so we'll get you caught up. Anybody else that just showed up, basically he was in an accident and he was paralyzed from the neck down.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
But he was active duty Air Force at the time.
You know how you Air Force people are.
Jumping out of planes and stuff. And you were 20, man. Oh my gosh.
It was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not the best time, but of course, I got out of it. I made it out alive.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great.
So how long after this happened, how much longer were you in the service?
That was as soon as I got back up on my feet. They basically told me that I was no longer qualified to be in the military, and it was time to separate. So that was when I went through the process of making my way out. I mean, I guess at least thankfully they let me stay active while I was recovering, and then let me handle the out processing after everything there. So that would have been a little crazy taking care of that during.
Did they medically discharge you, like retiring you out?
Yeah, they did.
I hope you got it.
So that goes into our next questions. Like, what was your transition experience then?
Oh my goodness. I still, thankfully my physical therapist was a yogi, and unbeknownst to me, he was like putting me through yoga poses and showing me yoga. And I had no idea while we were going through until at the end of our physical therapy. And then he let me know what we were doing, gave me some like home therapy stuff, showed me some yoga routines. And I followed that for, quite a while. It was more physical for me, of course. At the age of 20, I looked at yoga as, hey, I'm not a skinny chick, and I'm not wearing Lululemon. So yoga's not for me. But I realized what it was doing for the body. So I kept up with it for the physical side of things. And then eventually I did notice, I was like, wow, that guy cut me off, and I don't want to pull over and rip him out of his car and like beat the hell out of him. So I started noticing that the mental component, coming in later, and continued down that journey. But there was this big purpose-sized hole that was right through the center of me that I just couldn't shake. It's like nothing in the civilian world after what you do as a combat vet will ever be the same. It's, I missed my boys that I had constantly by my side. So I felt like I lacked purpose, and it was tough and led me down some really dark paths. I became an alcoholic and experimented with drugs, became a drug addict, and all of that led to homelessness after just pretty much throwing everything away, trying to numb everything like a lot of us do after the military, and instead of like handling whatever's issues, just kind of numbing it all out. Didn't want to deal with it. Didn't want to deal with the fact that I couldn't get back into the military. There was, that was just finished. That whole side of my life was done. So it kind of stuck with me for quite a while. It didn't take me until, 15, 16 years later, 35, 36 years old, to figure out how to get my shit back together and pull myself out of the funk and realize that I could do anything I wanted to. Why am I so worried about what I lost? And if I'm so concerned about what am I going to do for the rest of my life, find out what, lights my fire and start going after that.
So did you just wake up one day and say that's what's going to happen, or did somebody reach out and help you?
It was somebody reaching out and helping me. It took me being homeless, laying on, the couch out in the middle of the desert, and a friend of mine, the last one that I didn't alienate, inviting me to his home and pretty much just giving me the talk, like, you need to get your shit together. Like, this is the end of the road. It's time to look at yourself and handle what's going on in your situation. And just something about that, just woke me up. And from that point forward, I went on to the sober path, and took me quite a while to work back from that. But, eventually made my way back. Probably about 2015 is when I finally settled back into Leland and became a human again.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for somebody else because I always talk too much. That's what happens. I'm on radio. I'm used to it. Sorry, just talking.
Yeah, that's
I assume
amazing.
during this period of time you lost a lot of relationships.
I did. Of course, I alienated the hell out of family. Thankfully, they're still around, and they, eventually they understood what I was going through, and alienated a shit ton of friends. Thankfully, some of them stuck around as well. They realized, that I was just going through something that wasn't exactly who I was. But yeah, I just destroyed relationships left and right. When you're in that space, it's easy to isolate yourself and tell yourself, nobody understands me. Nobody's ever going to get me. So why even worry about what they think?
No, you were married at the time, so you lost that too, right?
Yeah, that went away as well. We have 3 kids from that relationship, thankfully, but that definitely went away. We're good friends now, but yeah, of course, who's going to stick around for that?
Well, it's hard going through. No one understands except other vets, and really, unless you're a combat vet, you don't understand what that person has lost and what they went through. So you need those type of people to be there for you. So,
well, and I also think, like when you're parenting, sometimes the separation can be what ends up helping you be a better parent, versus like there's just a lot of hard decisions in those scenarios all the way around. So I'm really glad that you have a great relationship with your ex and your kids.
Yeah. Thank you. That all turned around and came out for the better.
And now on the other side of it, right, since everything's so much better now, you started Warriors for Life America. Is that what you started?
I did. Yeah. So I made it through that whole dark phase myself. And in 2016, Dad, who was an airborne ranger, was one of our now 22 suicides a day. He just didn't want to, go down the path anymore. And it's one of those hard things. A lot of people, they judge veterans for doing that, or judge people in general for doing that. But I've heard a lot of people say that, that's weak. And it's not the case for me. And I'm traveling down the path of getting my doctorate and PhD in psychology. And when you look at it, it's actually one of the toughest things, because I've had my moments when I tried to commit suicide, and that's one of the toughest things to do. So to get to that point, there had to be something, honestly, that was really, really deep rooted that I wish I would have known about, or at least reached out. And knowing that and having that conversation in my head is what sparked me to start Warriors for Life America, because I realized, well, you can't do anything about Dad, obviously. You can grieve, and then you can take that and turn that pain into some sort of progress. And that's when I decided to start Warriors for Life America and help ferry all of our brothers and sisters from that dark hole to where they want, the purpose in life that they want to find, or just finding balance again.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that it's, that generation, though, when, Vietnam, Korea, you don't talk about your feelings at all. There is no feelings. You deal with them, you suck it up, all that kind of stuff. And so a lot of those, that's why, they have nobody to talk to, or they don't think they have anybody to talk to. So I'm glad. Thank you for starting what you did.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It's, to your point too, it's one of the things that we try to look at. In fact, while I was there at Secret Knock, I was part of the town hall for veteran suicide prevention. And the craziest thing is out of the veterans that commit suicide, over 2/3 of them are 55 plus. So like you said, from that generation, just rub some dirt in it. Don't talk about your feelings, no crying. So there's obviously something there that we're trying to address as well, going after the older veteran community as well, and trying to help out in any way, shape, or form that we can, since obviously there's a bigger gap there that we need to fill for that generation of veterans.
And I don't know, it's anybody you talk to who retires out. The first, we talked to some older vets and they're like, they lost their purpose, right?
Yeah.
They don't know what to do and they have to figure that out and find your purpose. So
Yeah.
I think they need to have part of your transition out of the military is finding your reason, finding your why, finding what you're going to do going forward and making sure you're okay with that going forward, because it changes when you get out.
Yeah.
No one does the first thing they do when they get out.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I think Brandy did, but other than that, everybody else.
No, but I feel like it is very important to let them know that they can be versatile and they can apply their skill sets many different places. Like, you're not only great in the military, you can also have a self-identity outside of the military. But I feel like that's lost. So now that you have the military, because, you've had that your entire life, now that it's gone, it's like, what do I have now? But you have so much. There's so much that you can be capable of. And it's great that you started that foundation to help others. And I also think it's really important to be vulnerable and find beauty in that, because I feel that's when you're able to kind of heal a lot.
Yeah. I just thought we'd all be equal all of a sudden. So sorry. Get them out of the spotlight. So let's talk more about your foundation. I mean, your Warriors for Life America, what that is. And man, you should have told me you were doing a town hall for veteran suicide. I would have stayed.
Oh yeah, no, it was online. It was a Zoom thing. Yeah. So next one that we have, whenever they invite me, I'm definitely shooting you info, and I want you in there with me. So, yeah. So with Warriors for Life America, it's we base it off of yoga, breath work, meditation, fitness. I myself became a 500-hour yoga instructor, fitness instructor, and also now a mental health professional using somatic-based therapy, which is just a fancy way of saying using bottom-up therapy that, using motion and breath work to move that energy that gets trapped inside of our body out. So we're using a lot of that. And now we have also Kane Kong Marzola, who's our president, and he is a UFC champion. So we've got him on board as well, teaching breath work, martial arts, mixed martial arts. So everything that we can, just basically to get them out of the house, get them to connect with community, even if it's just the veteran community, and allow them to realize that they do belong, they have a purpose, they're worth it, and they have so much to offer. Just like Brandy stated, once we can really connect with them and let them realize, especially those that have gone through and retired, like, bro, you've got the best leadership training ever in the world. My Lord, you are at the top of the list for anyone's resume. You are at the top of the list for anybody's contract. If you own your own business, you are at the top of so many lists. If you just settle down and figure out what you want to do in life. And that's what we really created Warriors for Life America to do, is help them find that purpose and balance in life. And one of the biggest things we're trying to do now is work ourselves into becoming a part of that TAPS program, transition, assistance program after the military, which we all know. I mean, I'm sorry, whoever created that, it's an absolute joke. I can go into my class, fall asleep for 6 hours, and then get the guy that, taught it to check my box off, and I'm good. But there's no real value given in that. It's like, I didn't learn anything. You didn't tell me how to take what I've learned in the military and flip it into a positive for myself. So why not?
I have some questions. So is your program specifically or more geared towards retirees or just anybody transitioning out?
Yeah, anybody transitioning out. And since October 1 out here in Las Vegas, which I was down there for, we also included first responders. Because come to find out, every time I talk to an EMT or a cop or a firefighter, like 80% of them, 8 out of 10 of those guys are veterans anyways. And they're selflessly serving the community. So we take care of military, veterans, first responders, all generations, whether they were medically out, honorably discharged, dishonorably discharged, whatever it was. If you are a veteran, we help you find your way.
Okay. So if you guys don't mind, one more question. So just to clarify a little bit more.
Come closer, Amy. Amy, come closer.
I find that a lot of programs are for senior enlisted and officers, and that I feel like junior enlisted oftentimes are just not really cared as much about, or utilize, or the programs aren't hitting the target, if you will.
Right.
So just to almost ask again,
Yeah.
have you had a lot of junior enlisted successful in your program?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, more of our success comes from the junior enlisted. They're the ones that will jump in, so of course we do something called resilience-based yoga. And you can see the grumble sometimes of the, oh my God, yoga on their faces. But when they get done, it's a completely different switch, all the way to the point where they love becoming involved so much that we've had 2 of them already that actually want to come through and become a trauma-informed instructor themselves, so they can go on and help out others as well. So we're geared towards anybody, but of course we love paying attention to the junior enlisted, because there's so many programs for the other ones, like you said, that are geared towards, the senior, the officer, and all that good stuff. So yeah, we take care of the salt of the earth.
Nice phrase.
The worker bees, the people who work.
Exactly.
The ones you don't call sir.
Yes.
So where do you get stuck with TAPS? Have you talked to transitioning services at different joint bases, or
that's the next mission. We actually haven't gotten started on that yet, so we want to get a hold of DoD, but I think that's probably the best way to do it, is to contact the individual programs, especially in the areas where we work, and see what we can do. For us, it's more of a collaboration than it is a competitive thing. If they even just allow us to work with them, it would be epic, just to help them make those little shifts and changes so that we can actually give them tools to help themselves, instead of just checking boxes like we all know that program lets you do.
Okay, because I know one of the transition people here at JBLM,
Yeah.
and Ed might have connections in California, and Brandy, where she's at.
That would be epic. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk then.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we want to do with Helping the Brave. So, and we want to connect every organization that's out there to every veteran, especially transitioning out all the way through life, whatever that is. Once you take that uniform off, we're here for you.
So. Yeah, I love it.
Yep. So then my next question, because
I'm just waiting. I know Amy had more questions, and she's just waiting to just ask your questions, Amy. Just go. In a roll, go.
All right.
You got a chalkboard behind you. Start writing them down ahead of time.
Awesome. So so this is your nonprofit. Do you do other volunteer work in your community or anything, or has anything resonated with you?
Yeah, so we work with another organization out here called Trauma Recovery Yoga. In fact, what was it? Last night, we did a little yoga session downtown Las Vegas in the downtown alley. So we like to work with them as much as possible. We're working with Catholic Charities out here, which is a homeless organization, and Caridad, which is another homeless organization who gears towards homeless vets. So we try to give back in any way, shape, or form that we can to the community, because one of the biggest things that we try to get our vets to realize is, you're a part of this community. You need to be a part of this community. We need you. You hold a high position in this society. After everything that you've been through, you have so much value to add to the community that we're in. So we try to get out there and reach them by any way, shape, or form that we can.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I was just so curious if you did anything other than yoga.
Yeah. We
you said it. You said the first 2 were yoga, then the other ones weren't. So
yes, we do some fitness stuff, plyometrics, Pilates, anything physical to help them really get back into their bodies. Help them start that healing process to get out of the way and not just sit and be sedentary and sit in that isolation that we all typically can do.
And
I will say, you lost me at yoga.
I will say my boss played, I think, basketball and baseball in college, and he swears by yoga. He says yoga is the one thing that he felt had the biggest amount of impact in all of his other sports. And I'm sorry, But and I've been a yogi.
Yeah, I did P90X
years.
yoga, so I don't want to hear it. That was some brutal stuff. So
That's pretty big yoga. Yeah, that's fitness yoga, man. That's extreme yoga.
I just have to have a reason to do it, not just.
See,
I'm actually listening to the book, or you can read it too, The Way of the Seal. Have you guys read that one? Oh, he talks about that. They teach all that about breathing and all that to control things and the whole thing. It's a good read if you haven't read it. So
I'll have to check it out.
I put it on like double speed listening to it. That's the best way to do it. Have you ever done that? It's like I accidentally did that on my phone down in San Diego, listening to Audible. I was like, I was like, oh, God, I can listen to this totally 2 times. It's so much better. You get through the book twice as fast.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I tried 2.5 because somebody else says, "Oh, I do it on 2.5," and it's like that's way too fast for me. I couldn't keep track of it. The things you learn on Helping the Brave, I tell you.
I love it.
Anything else you want to add that because I went and checked out your website. You guys do virtual walks, virtual stuff like that.
Yeah, so we're getting back to that. Of course, COVID put a squash on a lot of the things that we used to do. These warriors walks where we'd get a few hundred of them together, and we'd go out for just like a little mile or 2 stroll, just kind of talking, nothing big. And by the end of that, we would do some yoga, some breath work, and it was just this amazing community happened. And it was really cool to see the switch at the beginning. Most everybody's kind of closed off. They don't want to really talk or whatever, especially the folks that are just coming out. And then by the time you get back, everybody's chatting it up and they're just having a great time. You see the complete switch. So now we're switching that to a virtual walk, and we've got an app that's in process right now being created for a little cool thing, tracking where you went and seeing if there's anybody else that is nearby that you can see on the little app and all that good stuff. So yeah, everything that we can to try to keep everyone connected. And we've got some online Zoom classes coming out as well. So holotropic breath, yoga, fitness, and all kinds of good stuff coming out.
Because I'm thinking that whole virtual thing, or the walk for the warriors, you should do it nationwide all at the same time, the same day. There used to be a ride I used to do, and they would do that within silence for all the cyclists who died on the road, and it would be a ride in silence, and it's all over the United States at the same time.
That is an epic idea. I'm actually going to talk to my guys about that.
Yeah.
And the Piestewa challenge was the same way.
Yeah, nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Okay, well then I think we just have to do that.
There you go. All right. Anything else, Amy? Brandy? Leland?
Not for me.
That's all I can think of at the moment. I thank you so much for letting me come on and speak with you guys. I look forward to talking with you more.
Yeah, and don't go anywhere when we leave, so stay right there. Basically, yeah, anything we can help you with your foundation, any other information you need to help us with, we can put on the, on the Facebook and all that stuff, YouTube channel. We can add it into the video so it's there for people to find it, get it to us. I know I have most of it from what you sent me, so I'll put it in there later. But it's important for us to be here for our, vets. That's what we're here. We're here to help. Everybody on here wants to help. Everybody's connected with this wants to help. And any way we can help you, let us know. I just getting tired of hearing yoga. I'm sorry.
You're tired from this.
No, it's like all of a sudden it's like, and then we just come back and we do yoga, and then we do this, and then we went out there, then we came and did yoga. I'm just playing around.
It's the best thing ever. I'm telling you.
It is.
Change your life,
good. So good.
It did. I mean, I did P90X for years, man. I was as lean as I ever was, and I could stretch. So, all right. I thank everybody for being here today. Thank our hosts. Thanks our guests. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate everybody part of Helping the Brave, getting this whole movement out there to get it going. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for showing up today, and thank you for everybody who's watching and listening. And we will, if you like what we do here, just follow us. And again, we'll talk to you next week. We're here Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3:30 Pacific and 6:30 Eastern, and we'll see you next week.